So now that we've finished preparing our working papers, let's assume that those working papers are ready for review. Now, if I was a manager and these working papers have been assigned to me for review, I would come to my Silverfin inbox and I would have a message in there from the preparer saying that we've got a file that's ready for review. I could then hyperlink directly to that file or to the workflow in question. And then in this case, I'm going to move into the working papers workflow and I'm going to move to the workflow review screen. It's worth mentioning that with those notifications, we can have those sent on a daily basis via email if you don't want to go in and check your Silverfin inbox on a regular basis. Now, in terms of how we review the working papers job, the most basic way would be to just scroll through here, and you can see at the bottom of each working paper, I can see whether it's been reviewed. In this case, I'm going to mark this one as reviewed and then move on to the next. And you can continue in that way. Once a working paper has been reviewed, it will have a green tick here to show me very clearly which ones need to be done and which ones are currently outstanding. Now, as you know, we sync at least 2 years worth of data into Silverfin when we're connecting to Xero. So what that means at the review stage is that I can potentially compare periods as a part of my review. So what I'm going to do here is get a side-by-side comparison of how the working paper looks this period versus the prior period. Any differences from 1 year to the next are going to be highlighted in red so that they're really clear at that stage. If a working paper has a set of notes or comments attached to it, I can see all of those down the right-hand side in my communication panel. Now, as we mentioned before, we can categorize and we can tag those comments and those to-dos on a file. Where that benefits me at the review stage is that I can now potentially filter those comments and say, just show me all of the comments and the to-dos that are relevant to the manager review stage. So in this case, there's just one comment there. I can see that there's also a check associated to manager review, but in this case, that check's already been completed. If I wanted to add my own comments or notes, I could do so here, potentially tagging in the preparer, asking them to do something for me. That would then show as an outstanding to do on this particular file. Once we've been through and we've reviewed all of those working papers, we might then want to look at the overall communication for this file. So here we can see across the entire file what comments have been added and what to-dos are outstanding. Here I can see there's a to-do relevant to year-end receipts, and that's outstanding. So I can either chase that up or I can potentially complete that myself. And to do that, I would simply tick the box here to show that that's been completed. The other thing that you might want to integrate into the review stage is a manager review checklist. So with my manager review checklist here, I have a series of tick boxes. And as the manager, once I've been through my review, I can just tick to say, yes, I have reviewed all of the appropriate working papers. And yes, all of the firm's AML procedures have been followed. Now, this is an example of one set of checks, but you may want to have different levels. For example, you might have one checklist at manager review stage and another less in-depth checklist at partner review stage.